Okay, so I have dried this background mountain and I think it looks perfect. It's a good tone. It'll be nice when we put some trees here. It will really let the trees show. So on to this one. Remember, we're going to make this one darker, but it all starts the same. I'm going to wet the whole area. Okay, got this area nice and wet. So we're going to make this darker, and we're going to do it in 2 stages. So I'm going to put some darker color here. I'm going to work on the mountain from the bottom up, and then I'm going to let it dry, and we're actually going to come back in and add another layer of trees and mist and really make it much darker. But to start out with, I've got this same combo going on here of phthalo and mineral violet. And once again, I'm just dropping in color. Not really concerned about what's happening, just laying in some dark color. Now I'm going to start in with my mauve. And maybe even add some pink. Ooh, that's a bright pink. I'm gonna add some blue right on top of that. That was a little intense. Now let gravity do its thing. Just let it work. And I can use my brush to just kind of tickle it to that edge. So once I get it tickled to the edge, let me get this one little spot here, then I can pull it back the other way and let gravity work now this way. And I can add some more water droplets, just grabbing a little paint, a little water, so that this edge, I want it to be bright and vibrant, and then this down here to be darker and intense. So just grabbing a little more of that mixed color, putting in a little more color, and letting gravity do its thing. And I'm going to work out my puddles. So just grabbing some of that extra and pulling that out. And now I'll come back in with a smaller brush and just add some water blobs up here just to give it kind of some visual interest. Let some little things be growing, whatever's happening. And I can use gravity again. So you can see how it kind of lightens up that edge and pulls the darkness down into the bottom here. Okay, so now once you get it to this point, we're going to let it dry, and then we'll come back in and add these elements of kind of these misty trees that show up. So that's why you want this edge here to be a little lighter. We're going to work in those trees and then make it really dark on the bottom. So I'm going to get to work on my hair dryer, and I will see you on the flip side. Okay, so I've got my second mountain dry here, and we're going to come back in and add some trees and darken this area up as well. So to do that, we're still going to work with wet paint, and I'm using a small paintbrush. This is a size 1, so you could even drop down to a 0, or a 2 would also work. And color here, it's really up to you. I just kind of use a mixture of colors that I've already been using, so I'm just going to get some of these wet. I've got some of that mineral violet, some of the phthalo, some of the mauve. And to begin the tree, all you do, actually I think I'll start with my phthalo, a little mixture here. So you can see how wet my paint is, so I'm not going super intense here. Remember that it's always easier to darken watercolor than to try to make it lighter. So start light, you can always darken it up if you need to. And I'm going to start about right in the middle of this mountain. Now keep in mind that we are going to add some trees about midway here that are going to start here and come all the way up into the skyline. So this area is going to be taken. So I want these trees to be just over here and come down into the bottom. So to start out with, I just start with a little trunk, and then I start dotting some of the limbs, branches, leaves. These are like evergreens, so they just kind of go back and forth, and they get wider as they come out. So now I'm grabbing a little mauve, and I'm just going to dot some mauve into there. And this looks really dark, but remember that it's fairly wet, so it's going to dry much lighter. Once I get about that much of the tree in, I step up to a little larger brush, and I add a few more limbs. I just grab some mauve there, so you can do different colors. And once I get about to this area, I just add wetness. So I just bring out some wetness. I don't really have a lot of color here, it's just wet. And that's going to create that kind of misty look that will bring it all the way down and make it darker. So I've got this area wet. I just added some more blue in there. And now I'm going to do the same thing right next to this tree. So, and you want to vary the size. So this one will be a little shorter. Just do my trunk, add some branches into here. You don't have to worry too much about detail, because these are not the star of the show. We just want to give the impression here that, that there are some trees living over here. So I'm just going to add a little tree here. And you can see once it gets down into that wet part where I added that moisture, the color will just start to bleed into that moisture there. So maybe a bigger one lives over here. Grab some more of my mauve, just adding that wet paint right down as we go down. So now I'm just grabbing some color, watery color, and I'm going to start bringing it, and you can see I'm just making these random strokes. So some of the lightness will still come through. I can dot different colors. I'm just really using my mauve, my phthalo, and some of that mineral violet, just dotting in color and bringing that darkness all the way to the bottom. And I really want it to be rather mottled, so that M-O-D-D-L-E-D, I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but you know what I mean. So it'll look like there's kind of a foggy, misty thing happening over here, where these trees are just kind of peeking out and shining. We can really just see the shadow of them against this mountain. And once you get over here, you really can just kind of fudge it, because like I said, you're going to have trees coming up here. So you don't have to worry too much about this edge over here. You can bring the color over there, and then just take your paper towel and just kind of dot some of the color away, and that really just kind of fades it into the background. So there you go, simple enough. Just add some little shadowy trees there with a little mist and a lot of color.